All right, so Bowe Bergdahl, so if you don't remember, he's the Army traitor who left his post in Afghanistan, I believe? Yeah, back in Afghanistan a couple of years ago, and we traded the 5 Taliban for him. So he was held by the Taliban for 5 years after leaving his post in Afghanistan. And now he has been officially charged by the U.S. military with desertion and misbehavior before the enemy. Daniel King, Public Affairs Chief of the Army Forces Command, appeared last Wednesday afternoon in Fort Bragg to announce 2 charges against Bergdahl. Can you play that?
The U.S. Army Forces Command has thoroughly reviewed the Army's investigation surrounding Sergeant Robert Bowe Bergdahl's 2009 disappearance in Afghanistan and formally charged Sergeant Bergdahl under the Armed Forces Uniform Code of Military Justice on March 25, 2015, with desertion, with intent to shirk important or hazardous duty, and misbehavior before the enemy by endangering the safety of a command, unit, or place, and has referred the case to an Article 32 preliminary hearing. Again, Sergeant Bergdahl is charged under the Uniform Code of Military Justice with 1 count of Article 85, desertion with intent to shirk important or hazardous duty, and 1 count of Article 99, misbehavior before the enemy by endangering the safety of a command, unit, or place. As you recall, Sergeant Bergdahl disappeared June 30th, 2009 from combat outpost Slovak in Paktika Province, Afghanistan, and was subsequently captured. Regarding next...
All right, that was the press conference, as you heard before, regarding Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl's charges in the military.
And that was Daniel King, who's the Public Affairs Chief. Now, a little background on these charges, I think, are warranted. So under Article 85, which is the completed or attempted desertion with intent to avoid hazardous duty or to shirk important service, that actually carries a maximum sentence of a dishonorable discharge, forfeiture of all pay, and confinement for up to 5 years. This actually in and of itself is a huge break for Bergdahl, as the Army could have potentially charged him with desertion during war, which carries a maximum sentence of death. However, he doesn't quite get off. Under Article 99, which is misbehavior before the enemy, which includes running away and cowardice, that is actually punishable, also punishable by death. Now, it is extremely unlikely that Bergdahl would ever receive the death penalty or anything close to it. But it's not like it would be unwarranted, as 6 American soldiers were killed in the search for him because of his cowardice and his running away. Of course, the reason why Bergdahl is even here is because of an ill-advised trade the Obama administration made with the Taliban, where he released 5 prominent Taliban leaders in exchange for Bergdahl, who is now known as a traitor. What are your thoughts on Bergdahl?
Well, like you said, he disappeared in June 2009 in eastern Afghanistan while he was serving as a private. And the U.S. military did devote an enormous amount of resources in the search for him, especially after videos appeared showing him in custody of fighters, of Qatari fighters specifically. So I'm wondering about, I don't obviously know a lot of the legal terms and everything, but I'm wondering about why he's been charged with like an intentionally malicious act when it seems like he was being held against his will.
Right. Well, the fact is that we have plenty of testimony from his fellow soldiers saying he voluntarily left. I mean, they didn't just capture him. He left his post. He ran away from his post. And then he may have been captured. He may have joined them. That's still fuzzy on exactly what happened. But it doesn't change the fact that he voluntarily left. And that's where the desertion charges come from and the misbehavior before the enemy, which just includes the running away and cowardice. So those 2 charges are warranted whether he ran away and then get captured or ran away and joined them.
Well, even still, there hasn't been a trial yet. He's only been charged.
Right.
So nothing's been proven, and uncertainty still kind of shrouds a lot of this situation around this, because just as much testimony there is about his dishonorable actions and misbehavior, there's also quotes from like Susan Rice, the National Security Advisor, who said that he served.
She's very incredible. Let me tell you about Susan Rice. No, but he's afforded his due process. So he's gonna right now he's gonna go through a preliminary hearing type thing, which is what the public affairs chief was. But I'm gonna guess he's probably gonna want a judge to sit, and he's probably want what they call a bench trial instead of a jury trial, because if a bunch of other soldiers get up there and they see a cowardice in front of them, he's gonna get a pretty bad sentence. So I would imagine he's gonna try to get that judge to hear his trial, much like Nadal Hussein did. And he was the one, if you remember, that shot up the people over in Fort Hood. So,
yeah.
Well, my question here is that, there's some information, I know an email was released that he had sent to his parents before he was captured that talks a lot about what his platoon was actually engaging in and the behavior, and that he was ashamed of it. And I think he even said, I'm not proud to be an American. So I think coward is a strong word when you're talking about the courage it takes to leave your platoon. I understand I understand how that could be seen as cowardice, but what about the courage it takes to stand up and say what you're doing isn't right, what we're doing to these people is not right?
Well, I would say leaving your men of arms is probably one of the most cowardly acts you could ever do. To leave your brothers on the line just because you don't want to be there anymore. To me, that doesn't get any more coward. That is the most un-American and most un-soldier thing you can possibly do. And like you said, he
of course,
says,
that's not why he left. That's not why he's saying he's left.
Well, yeah, of course, but it doesn't change the fact.
It's not because he didn't want to be there. It's because he dissented against
right.
what they were doing.
To me, that's even worse. But I mean, that doesn't change the fact that his charges of that he voluntarily left. That's his charge. The reasons behind it aren't really the point. The point is that he did leave, and that's where the desertion charge and the the misbehavior in front of the enemy. That's what those charges bring. No matter what the reason was, all we have to know is that he voluntarily left, and that's the key factor here. And like I said, there's plenty of testimony showing that he did leave, and I hope he does get the full extent of his punishment, because that is just unacceptable in today's Army.
Can I read just a quote from his email? He says, he's talking to his parents here about being in the service, and he says, "We don't even care when we hear each other talk about running their children down in the dirt streets with our armored trucks. We make fun of them in front of their faces and laugh at them for not understanding we are insulting them. I am sorry for everything." And I think there is a little bit of courage there. In my opinion, a lot of courage. Again, I understand he signed up for the Army. Don't abandon your troops, but at the same time, when you're serving in something that you don't believe in, and maybe even something that is completely disgusting to you, do you follow your conscience or do you follow the code? And I think more importantly, what I don't understand is why Obama made a deal for someone who clearly, doesn't want to stand for America, and then only to put him on trial. I don't understand that part of the story.
Well, I think there needs to be a trial just to kind of clear up a lot of the uncertainty around this situation. But of course, his voice should be just as prominent as those who are charging him. The stated reasons that he left were to walk to a nearby U.S. military outpost to report wrongdoing on the part of his commanders. Or he believed that they could not trust his commanders of his own unit to deal with his concerns, according to a senior official. That he intended to report what he believed to be problems with order and discipline in his unit. A second official said he had concerns about leadership issues at his base. So, of course, in technical legal terms, he did commit crimes. If it can be proved that he did, then those are the crimes that he committed. But I feel that if he's going to be involved in some kind of grand jury type trial, or if with a judge, that some of these concerns are going to be voiced, and he's going to be seeing we're going to be seeing an interesting case here that might set a precedent for future cases.
Well, I think it does need to set a precedent, because like I said, this kind of running away just cannot be accepted in the military. That's what causes weakness. That's what causes weak links in the military. And that's something that we do not need. You're in the Army for one reason. You're in the Army to complete objectives, and sometimes that is to kill people. And that's why you're over there. And you have no, if you didn't want to kill people, you shouldn't join the Army. You shouldn't have been in there. But once you're there, you have a duty to do, and you must complete it. And like I said, I hope Bowe Bergdahl goes through all the due process that he's deserved, and that he's also receives the sentence that he deserves.